Hello guys, and welcome to another episode of Genshin Impact, and yeah, it's time to do yelan's story quest, so that's what we're doing today. I literally have no idea what to expect from this event, or not event, story quest. It's been a while since I think we done like a story quest, right? Oh no, which one was the last character we got? Ayato was the last one we did story quest on, I'm pretty sure. Oh, up here.
Uncle Tien, we're here to chat with you.
What a lovely surprise. Welcome. Hoishin, why don't you go downstairs and get the shopkeeper to make us a fresh pot of tea?
Sounds great. Let's get some tea.
I heard that you've been traveling all over the place recently. I would very much like to hear your adventure stories. Hoishin told you, didn't she? Don't worry. I'm quite all right. It's just the years gradually catching up with me. As I grow older, I'm starting to find that with many things, though the mind is willing, the flesh is weak. Especially recently, I've noticed a rather drastic drop in my energy levels. I am still very much in good standing as the Tianshu today. Nevertheless, I wish to pass on the position before my mental acuity begins to decline beyond redemption.
How difficult is it to transfer the Tianshu position?
Oh, well, you see, the Tianshu is a rather unique position among the Liyue Qixing. Historically speaking, the Tianshu rarely appears in public. We stay behind the scenes, planning and giving advice, so a public selection process would not be suitable. We also want to keep any prospective Tianshu candidates free from influence by outside forces, so we tend to be as discreet as possible in their assessment and appointment.
So in other words, you pick someone, and then Lady Keqing, Lady Ningguang, and the other Qixing appoint them?
Correct.
Got it?
I won't be able to assess every candidate myself. Not to despair, however, because I found someone exceptionally capable to act on my behalf as assessment officer. In fact, I believe you recently became acquainted with her yourself.
Yep, I know her.
Who is it?
I'm heartbroken. I thought it might take you a little longer than this to forget all about me.
It's yelan!
Jackpot. Uncle Tien here asked me to assess 3 candidates for him. Fancy joining me? You'll be among the first to get to know the next Tianshu. Might be a good opportunity for you.
Sounds good.
What do you think? Paimon thinks so too. It can't be a bad thing to be on good terms with a new Qixing, right?
Alright
Nope.
then.
Let's
Bill,
go then.
You say you're into behind-the-scenes planning? My work's of the covert variety too. Don't you think I might make a good Tianshu?
I'm not opposed to the idea, but I suspect Ningguang wouldn't let you go very easily after how long you've been working together. So, how about this? If your investigation reveals that none of the other candidates are qualified for the position, I'll recommend you for the job.
Deal. Well, you guys take your time. Everything's all set for the assessments to go ahead. Meet me on the first floor when you're ready. Until then, have a pleasant conversation. Oh, and no need to pay for your tea. As the new owner of this fine establishment, this runs on the house.
Okay, I didn't know you owned this house.
Uncle Tien seems really worn down. It's like all his energy's gone.
Yeah, it may sound harsh, but Uncle Tien is past his prime. He's not cut out for this anymore. So he's recommended 3 candidates. Their names are Qinwei, Mingbo, and Zhi. Qinwei is a wealthy entrepreneur. Mingbo works at the Liyue Ministry of Civil Affairs, and Zhi is focused on study and travel. Try to keep all that in mind. Of course, it doesn't really matter if you forget, since we'll be assessing them at Yuehai Pavilion in a short while.
But what does the assessment involve exactly?
Let's leave that until we get to Yuehai Pavilion. Heads in the game, people. The stakes don't get much higher than a change in the Qixing.
Yeah, where are we going? Oh, just up here. That's not far. Oh, yeah, update. I managed to get her. I'm so happy about that. Where's she? There she is. You know, but I got him. So that's a nice update. 1 constellation. And now I'm not wishing on this banner again. Don't want to Ito constellation more. It could be nice though, but no, new characters more fun.
It looks like all 3 candidates have arrived. Mm-hmm. We'll meet them formally soon. Before that, let me run you through the assessment process. I've split it into 2 stages: current affairs and planning, and face-to-face interview. In the first stage, candidates are required to submit a manifesto for Liyue's development. In the second stage, we will ask them some questions in person. Writing a manifesto takes time, so I informed them of this requirement in advance. These are the reports they submitted.
Wow, one of them is really thick.
It's also worth mentioning a stipulation I gave them. Whoever is appointed as the new Tianshu will be expected to implement their plan as put forward in their manifesto. Failing the occurrence of some cataclysmic event, they will not be permitted to change their plan. Therefore, these 3 piles of documents in front of us represent where each candidate stands on key policy issues. There's still some time. Have a skim through, get a first impression of what each person's proposing. I'll
Got
be
it.
waiting on-
Reading time. I am done reading.
Huh? What
Yep.
did you think?
Everyone took it very seriously.
Of course they did. They have the chance to be picked as the new Tianshu, so you can bet they're putting their best foot forward. And keep in mind, whoever gets in has to execute their plan as written. Nobody wants to have any regrets. That's for me to know and you to find out. We'll see the candidates now. Let's do one at a time. Start with Chenwei.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh? So you 2 are the assessment officers, are you?
Yeah.
I had assumed that given the great import of this situation, Lady Ningguang would perhaps be assessing us in person. I certainly hadn't imagined I'd be seeing 2 entirely unfamiliar faces.
Unfamiliar
I trust you
faces.
read through my manifesto? I'd be more than happy to clarify any details you
Do you
found
know
difficult to
what I have
grasp.
done for this city?
It was written with an expert audience in mind, after all.
Mind your tone, mister.
Relax. It wasn't intended as a personal slight against anyone in particular. I was simply stating a fact. Cloud Retainer? You know this Adeptus? Oh, yes, I remember now. You must be the traveler that people are constantly talking about.
Yep.
With your sterling reputation, you must have a respectable level of erudition. Perhaps you will be able to understand the concepts I have put forward.
Oh, is it my turn?
Yep.
Yes. Please introduce yourself.
I'm, Mingbo. I work in the Ministry of Civil Affairs. I've worked there for, 9 years, 5 months, and 3 days. In that time, I've handled 2,347 cases. I have 12 active cases at the moment. They should be concluded in, 16 days? My current work is related to urban planning, and I'm also responsible for, auditing the accounts. To be more precise, there are 3 parts to the accounts, namely...
Is it just Paimon, or is he not very good at public speaking?
You know what? Let's leave the self-introduction there and move on to some questions.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Hello. Not gonna lie, I'm feeling a little nervous. What would you like to know? You're here to assess me, so ask away and I'll answer your questions to the best of my ability.
Your manifesto is very wide in its scope, but you don't seem to be personally involved in many of the specific fields. How can you be sure that you have the ability to put your plan into action?
Very fair question. I completely understand where you're coming from, but I'm confident in my plan. I've visited many different places, talked to lots of people with far more expertise than myself, and my manifesto is the conclusion of these efforts. Of course, 2 different problems can be interconnected in very complicated ways, and you might reach 2 very contradictory conclusions depending on which one you're focusing on. What I've tried to do is strike a balance. In other words, present an optimal solution to all the problems as a whole.
How do you
This guy's the best. I think he's gonna win.
About your proposed solution being the optimal one.
A great question. Well, I'd start by having my colleagues and the secretaries of the Yuehai Pavilion evaluate any proposals before implementation. Post-implementation, it would all come down to the results. If it turned out that my judgment was to blame for poor results, I would take responsibility.
Nice answer. All right, next question.
He seems like a great guy. Everything he said was thoughtful and logical, and he was just a pleasure to...
Agree.
Here's my take on what we just learned. As you saw, Chenwei is highly knowledgeable. He proposes many excellent ideas in his manifesto which effectively target the big issues. But he is very proud and incredibly stubborn. He doesn't care much about other people's feelings. Mingbo's plan is more thorough and more measured. You can tell he's meticulous in his work, very detail-oriented. But he and Shenwei are otherwise polar opposites. Mingbo is not very articulate and comes across as very timid in conversation.
Perfect summary! Paimon couldn't agree more!
Last but not least, Jur-E. His manifesto is full of pertinent details, his methodology is sound, and his proposals cover a broad range of fields. The depth he goes into in each and every area means it can only be a product of painstaking work. Plus, he is modest and good at dealing with people. But what really interests me is that many of his views happen to coincide with Uncle Tien's. Having someone like Jur-E take the position would certainly put Uncle Tien's mind at rest. Let's go back and report to Uncle Tien.
So back to the tea house. Not the Inazuma tea house, but the Leeway tea house that I didn't know existed before today. So that's a new fact. And there he is. I can see him. I'm coming from the sky.
I see. Then it's more or less as I anticipated.
All right, then let me ask this. The ideas in Jur-E's manifesto are very similar to your own. Is there any particular reason behind this?
I didn't want to say anything when I gave you the list of candidates, for fear of affecting your judgment. But I can tell you now. Those 3 candidates have all studied under me in the past. It's only natural that they share some similarities with me. But Xin Wei went on to focus on his business, and Mingbo has always been occupied with his work at the Ministry of Civil Affairs. Of all of them, Juri was with me for the longest duration. Chen Wei was referred to me by an old friend. Mingbo came to my attention in the course of my work. And as for Juri, that was pure happenstance. We first met while fishing. Gradually, as we got to know each other, we started discussing all sorts of topics. Juri came from a poor family, and his parents died when he was very young. But he was a gifted student and a fast learner. He reminded me of a younger version of myself, so I started out giving him a few words of advice when we were out fishing and noticed how quickly he caught on. Quite. And now, all of a sudden, he's grown into a mature young man. It's a joy to see.
Let's get back to the matter at hand. Uncle Tien, we've reported back. Do you have a verdict?
I appointed you as the assessment officer, and I trust your judgment. Had you not asked me why Juri's ideas were so similar to mine, I was not going to mention my history with any of them. This decision must be guided by what is fair and right. Please disregard all other considerations and make your final decision only after a thorough review of each candidate's talents and capabilities. Remember, you must be thorough.
Understood.
Sure.
So it's gonna be Juri, right? His manifesto was written well, and he's the best speaker.
Easy. Let's not rush.
Huh?
Okay.
So, are you gonna give them more tests or something?
No, nothing like that. The assessment itself is complete. But let me give you a word of advice. Things are not always as they appear. The biggest no-no in intelligence work is to only get information from the person of interest themselves. The truth is almost always hidden beneath many layers of deception. For example, Wenyuan, Shanghua.
Yes?
Where did these guys come from?
Yelan, what are your orders?
Ugh! Who are they? What?
Did they scare you? These two are Wenyuan and Shanghua. They work for me. As my trusted assistants, they are always standing guard nearby. They also perform various assignments as required. Shanghua is a business expert who gets his information by trading. Wenyuan relies on word of mouth. And there's also Upei, who's not here right now. Shanghua, visit all the commerce guilds and look into Qianwei's background. Wenyuan, go to the Ministry of Civil Affairs and look through Mingbo's work files.
Yes, ma'am.
So Juri.
Guess we are looking into him.
Obviously, as the most promising candidate, we will be investigating him ourselves. Let's go to the docks first. Lots of people passing through there. You can find out all kinds of things.
If we're looking for information, why don't we try talking to Bulai, the owner of Wanyu Boutique? He does business at the North Wharf. Maybe he has some news for us.
That's actually not a bad idea.
Let's go
and
then.
ask him.
Let's go to this. Wrong way.
Huh? What's Bulai doing here today?
Don't know. Let's find out.
Oh, what are you doing here?
Looking for you.
And to be clear, these Sunsetias are mine. I got to them first. Don't get any ideas.
Actually, we want to ask you about a guy called Juri. Have you heard of him before?
Juri? Yes, he's quite well known. I've heard a story about him. They say he was born into poverty. His parents died when he was young, and he was treated cruelly by the local community. One of his neighbors was terribly rude to him all the time, but Juri never retaliated. And when his neighbor went bankrupt, he even helped support the family. He returned
What?
cruelty with kindness, injustice with peace offerings. A gentleman of talent and character, and oh, how did I not notice him sooner? In fact, maybe I'm not too late. If I could hire him to be the brand ambassador for Wanyo Boutique.
Sounds like a decent man. We can finally breathe a sigh of relief.
Why are you asking about him anyway? You aren't looking for a brand ambassador too, are you? Well then, in that case, the higher bidder takes the... Ah, that's Juri right over there. Why don't we go and talk to him?
Where?
It's him, all right. Looks like he's chatting with Lin Long. Come on, let's follow them and try not to let him see you.
I'll just go and fetch an employment contract. And hey, don't try and cut me out of this.
I understand. Let's walk and talk.
Don't get too close, or he'll see you.
How the fuck can he see me?
So, you were looking to buy a wineware set? Oh, now I can see that you're a connoisseur, so I won't bother trying to con you. I trust you understand our shop quite well?
The truth is, an old friend of mine, who likes to have a drink now and then, he fancies himself as a man of culture, but doesn't care for needless extravagance, so I thought I might buy him a set of high-quality fakes.
How very thoughtful of you. Leave it to me, then. Come and collect it at Shigu Antiques whenever is convenient.
Thank you very much, Miss Lin Long.
It's my pleasure, Mr. Juri. These days, it's quite rare for someone of your standing to still keep up with their old friends. It's nice to see. I'll be sure to pick out a good set for you. You can count on me.
I'm risking it too much.
Juri seems to get along really well with everyone. Are you satisfied now, Yelan? Seems
Nope.
like everyone thinks Juri's a great guy.
We shouldn't jump to conclusions just yet.
Of course she's
Let's
not
check
ready.
out the wharf where he usually goes fishing.
Do we have to? Wait,
Yeah.
you're not just trying to dig up some dirt on Juri because you want to be Tianchu yourself, or...
Maybe I am, maybe I'm not. But hey, if I do become Tianshu, I'll look out for you guys. You'll be able to try all the finest food for free. How does that sound?
We will? Well, come on! Off to the South Wharf we go!
Of course she's convincing Paimon by that. Paimon is the real weakness of the team. Like, seriously. Just food and she is gone.
The wharf is as busy as ever. I hear the anglers here sometimes sell their fish to the nearby fishmongers. Let's see what Uncle Soon has to say.
Welcome. What would you like to buy today?
Sorry to interrupt. We're actually members of the, Liyue Anglers Association, and we just wanted to ask a few questions about someone. We've heard about this young man called Juri, who's supposed to be a fantastic fisherman.
Whoa! Yelan made up a whole fake identity without batting an eyelid!
Ah, yes, Juri. He's been making quite a name for himself recently. I've got some friends who travel all over the place, and they tell me everywhere they go they meet someone who's heard of him. Apparently, he had a rather tough time growing up. Had to work several jobs alongside his studies to make ends meet. How does that saying go? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. Well, if there's anything to that logic, he's sure to be phenomenally successful one day.
Yeah, you.
But I'm afraid your Anglers Association might be in for a disappointment.
Oh? Why's that?
He's good at a lot of things, but fishing isn't one of them. He fishes at the wharf and sells what he catches to me on occasion. His catches are always mediocre. Not terrible, but equally nothing to write home about. If you're looking to recruit some new members, though, I do know a few top anglers I could put you in touch with.
That sounds fantastic. I've got a couple of other things to attend to right now, though, so why don't I come back some other time and we can chat over a drink?
Sure thing. See you.
Everywhere they go, they meet someone who's heard of him. Come on, let's keep asking around.
Who's the next guy? Oh no, this shit again. Okay, so let's just skip these two guys. Like, okay, we found some dirt on him, and now we're gonna check it out. There was really nothing interesting at all. So now we need to go back and talk to the old guy again. There's just too much dialogue, too little info, and that's pretty much it.
This manifesto covers a huge range of topics. Looking for details that don't add up will be like trying to find a needle in a haystack. I'll divide the reports into two piles. You take one, I'll take the other. Officially, the assessment is already over, and I'll be expected to announce the results before long. So we have to get to the bottom of this as quickly as we can.
Yikes! We better hurry!
Whatever else Uncle Tien might think of Jur-E, the fact remains that he's one of his favorite students. Any evidence he's left is not going to be immediately obvious.
Looks like I'm the first one back, as you...
Oh, hey! It's one of Yelan's little helpers, Shenhua!
Welcome back.
That means you finished investigating Qianwei, right?
You betcha. I visited all the commerce guilds and gathered a wealth of information. Every time they asked me to leave, but I always had another trick up my sleeve.
Don't drag this out. Just tell us your findings.
Yes, Lady Yelan. To summarize my findings, most people who've had interactions with Qianwei will start out complaining about how proud and arrogant he is, but then go on to give a generally positive appraisal of him. The young master of the Feiyun Commerce Guild said that Qianwei appears arrogant, but he's very scrupulous in the way he works. Once he signs a contract with somebody, he treats them fairly regardless of their background.
Who'd have thought?
Is it possible that his reputation is fake? Is there any way you can check the accounts of the businesses under his name?
In theory, that should be very difficult, but here's the thing. I asked around and found out that almost all of Qianwei's accounts are open to the public. Where he buys from and sells to should be confidential business information, but he doesn't seem interested in protecting it at all. Qianwei often sees business opportunities that others don't, but once he's made enough mora off of it, it's like he gets sick of it and releases all of his trade secrets. It's like he wants people to know that they still can't beat him, even if he shares all of his secrets. The fact that someone like that can still make mora is pretty infuriating when you think about it.
What a strange guy. It's like he's not doing business to make mora, but instead...
To validate his theories. No wonder his manifesto contains so many insights. It's all the result of his first-hand experimentation.
I'm back! How come you're here?
Why do you think? Obviously, because I possess superior skills, and am always one step ahead of the competition. Well, when you're the competition, at least.
Ugh, whatever. I'm not getting into an argument with you. Lady Yelan, I have finished investigating Mingbua. The Ministry of Civil Affairs says that Mingbua struggles to get his words out when he gets nervous, especially when he's chatting with strangers. But after a few days of getting to know him, you can pretty much have a normal conversation with him. On the whole, the feedback from the Ministry of Civil Affairs was very positive. He always considers the things that everyone else overlooks.
In your opinion, was the Ministry of Civil Affairs' appraisal of Mingbua at all exaggerated?
I don't believe so. Mingbua is someone who has slowly but surely earned the reputation he has today. Oh, and also, there was once someone in the ministry who was lying and cheating to try to advance their career. Mingbua gave them the scolding of a lifetime. Apparently, he can be terrifying when he loses his temper. I haven't seen it for myself, though.
Whoa, that's hard to imagine.
Like I said before, things are not always as they appear.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what you meant by that. I'm starting to get it now.
Thank you both. You're free to go now. So, have you finished reading the manifesto?
Yep.
Still have a bit left.
Oh god. No.
I can't see any immediate problems looking at the individual entries. The only one that strikes me as a little unusual is the Cheongshu Pool redevelopment plan. Cheongshu Pool has always been home to many secrets. Plus, Ajdaha once wrought havoc there, so there are even more secrets buried deep underground. At some point, a rumor began to go around that there is great treasure buried beneath Cheongshu Pool. A long time ago, with the approval of the Qixing, a mining team conducted an exploratory excavation there.
So, did they find any treasure?
None. The ruin was completely impenetrable. The only way they could have gotten through the solid rock would have been by blowing it open with a special kind of explosive. The technology wasn't mature enough at that time, so the excavation project was shut down and the treasure became a mere legend. Jur-E's manifesto focuses on solving problems, and this treasure hunt seems extremely risky. It seems out of step with the rest of his plans. Still, this one fact alone doesn't tell us much. Everyone wants to get their hands on this treasure. The treasure hoarders, the Fatui, even local Liyue factions.
Oh yeah! Juri said the Blackcliff Forge workers should get right of first refusal if any suitable projects come up.
Did he now? Well, that makes everything much clearer.
Does that mean the Blackcliff Forge is Juri's secret supporter?
No, not likely. I've looked into the Blackcliff Forge before. They aren't involved with any powerful factions at present. Do possess some specialized explosives, but it would seem more trouble than it's worth to put so many resources into a risky project like this. Still, since the clues are pointing toward the Blackcliff Forge, we should see where they lead.
Oh, we're finally going into this mine.
This is the Blackcliff Forge. Let's look around for clues.
What's this? A diary?
From the back, it looks like a ledger, but it seems they also use it as a site log. We don't know who wrote it, but it's interesting, don't you think?
You think they're suspicious?
Yes. Look, it says right there, one of them's already been promoted to team leader. At this rate, by the time the Cheongshu Pool redevelopment plan is ready to roll, they'll be the technical backbone of the team. That'll give them the chance to take a lot of liberties. They can copy any secret texts or steal any treasure they find underground. Imagine if we didn't suspect anything. By the time Jur-E recommends the Blackcliff Forge for the excavation project, at most we would maybe do a fresh background check on the place. No red flags if all they did was change some key staff. And even if we decided to vet the staff individually, they'd have had more than enough time by then to come up with fake identities. That's the advantage of planning this far in advance. It was a clever move.
When you put it like that, it all makes sense. If we hadn't found this out, someone else would have stolen the treasure. So, who's really behind all this?
That's a question for the newcomers. But let's start with that worker over there for now.
Excuse us. We want to ask you about the newcomers.
You want them to teach you or something? I gotta say, these newcomers are in tip-top shape. Fast learners, too. They're picking up all the skills unbelievably fast. My only complaint is that they're always going out drinking at night. But they never let us join them. I guess they just need some time to adjust. I'm sure we'll get to know each other over time.
They go out drinking. This area isn't exactly renowned for the nightlife.
You got that right. They tell me they go all the way back to Liyue Harbor to drink at Wanmin Restaurant. It rained after work today, so they actually stuck around at the site for a while. But as soon as the rain stopped, they went out drinking again right away. Hey, you're only young once, right? I say, if they can hack it, let them at it.
Interesting. Let's go talk somewhere else. Looks like our hunch was on the Mora. These newcomers are very suspicious. Drinking in Liyue Harbor, huh? Some cover story. I'll wager they've been going to intelligence updates. Good thing it rained today. It means they'll leave footprints. I doubt they'd give themselves away that easily, but let's follow them and try our luck.
Yay, footprints.
The footprints stop here. But, judging from the direction, I'm guessing the
This
destination
house.
is that abandoned house.
Okay, abandoned house. Hello?
Looks like we were too late. This has gotta be where the newcomers rendezvous with whoever they're working for. But all the evidence has been destroyed. Look at these ashes. Someone was burning documents not long before we arrived.
Why don't we wait for them back at the Blackcliff Forge? They've got to go back there sooner or later.
We can't count on that. Clearly they were based here at one point, but it's mysteriously abandoned now. To me, that says that whoever's behind this has moved them somewhere else to throw our investigation off course.
Darn! Guess this is where a trail runs cold.
I smelled something peculiar the moment I came in. Those newcomers probably thought they'd be safe as long as they burned the letters. But what they failed to consider is that paper and ink from different regions produce different odors when they're burned. There is a certain place with a freezing cold climate where there's nothing but ice as far as the eye can see. Some wealthy people there put floral fragrance in their ink as a way of injecting a little romance into their writing. When that fragrant ink is burned, this is the exact odor that it leaves behind. Exactly. The evidence will soon be blown away by the wind, so it's nothing we can arrest anyone with. But it's all I need. Now I know who we're dealing with. I can plan our next move.
Lady Yelan! Oh, thank goodness I finally found you. I thought I'd never
Post-
see you again.
No,
Who are you?
guess that's the guy she talked
Don't
about.
be alarmed. This is Upei. He's Wenyuan and Shanghua's colleague. I sent him to look into Zhiyi's regular contacts. Since Zhiyi likes fishing, Upei thought he might know some of the fishermen and sailors, so he took a boat out to sea to ask around. I left him a note at Yanshang Tea House telling him to look for me at Blackcliff Forge when he got back. If there'd been an ambush waiting for us there, it means we'd have had some backup. So, what did you find out at sea?
Forgive my incompetence. I'm afraid I've come up empty-handed. I asked all the fishermen multiple times, but none of them had any interactions with Zhiyi before. Then the waves got so choppy I ended up falling overboard. Fortunately, someone managed to drag me out. When I got back, I heard that you'd gone to Blackcliff Forge and might need backup, so I went straight there as fast as I could.
Well, Uncle Tian said that Zhiyi once bought a recipe from one of the fishermen. Did you hear anything about that at all?
What? That's news to me. No, that's not possible. It's absolutely not possible. Lady Yelan, I'm telling you, I spoke to every single fisherman out there, and none of them mentioned anything about a recipe.
Then I wonder how that even more wonderful fish soup came about.
Fish soup? What?
Nothing. Our priority right now is to find a way to get our hands on some solid evidence. Well, any suggestions? Not a bad idea. Upei, what do you think?
Honestly, I've already tried following Zhiyi, but the guy's too cautious. Never meets with anyone suspicious.
Okay, so tailing's out.
No, we'll still need to tail him. But first, we need to do some groundwork.
Groundwork?
When you've worked in intelligence for a long time, you'll understand that no one can stay on high alert forever. Tomorrow morning, I'll announce his victory at Yuehai Pavilion. Take a guess what you think he'll do next. Be sure to arrive on time. You won't want to miss the show.
Okay, I just looked up like how long this quest is, and it's actually a long quest. So I'm gonna split it up into parts. So yeah, I'm gonna end it here. I'm gonna say thank you for joining me for this episode. I'm actually really looking forward to what Yelan is gonna do with that guy there. Hopefully we can find out what he's doing, what his secret is. And I say thank you for watching, and I hope I see you all in the next one. Bye.